I'm joined by the lovely Tina. Hello, Tina from Aico. How are you?
I'm all right. Yourself?
I'm all right, but you've just put me through something that I just can't explain. I went through a carbon monoxide simulator. Is that how you would describe it?
It's exactly how I would describe it. It gives you it tells you, it makes you feel like how it would do if you had a carbon monoxide event and what it would be like when you have a shortness of breath. You tell me, how did you feel?
Well, you know what? It's really weird because I know it's not real. I know we're in a simulator environment. We have the VR headset. But when you're telling me that carbon monoxide is in the house, is in the room, and it was a kind of front room scenario, just very similar to what we have at Aico House here. My chest was closing in, my breath was going, and I know it's not real. And I wonder how many people wouldn't actually react to that necessarily until it's too late. And I potentially would be one of them without a carbon monoxide alarm.
And that's the exact same point why we've got that here today. Because when you have carbon monoxide poisoning, you don't realise you've got carbon monoxide poisoning. The symptoms of carbon monoxide is very much similar to having cold and flu-like symptoms. So people think I've got a tight chest, I've got a cold, or I've got a chest infection. But actually, it potentially could be carbon monoxide. So people, when we go to we work with social housing, there's many properties I've been into, and you say, how are the children feeling? Oh, they've had cold for 2 or 3 months. And the carbon monoxide alarm's been going off, but I've just ignored it because I thought it was faulty. And our alarms don't fault. If there's a genuine activation, the alarms will sound. But people think they're just faults and they take the alarms off. But those symptoms of a cold like flu symptoms are exactly the same as having carbon monoxide poisoning. And with carbon monoxide, it doesn't just travel through your skin. It will travel through adjacent properties, through concrete walls and through walls. So carbon monoxide, because it's a lighter gas, there's no smell, you can't taste it and you can't see it. Like with smoke, well, if you've got gas, you can smell that gas smell. Carbon monoxide, you've got nothing. So you don't realise you're in an environment with carbon monoxide poisoning. So if we look at a house, say if you've got a block of flats, your neighbour below you could have carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide could seep into your room where you're sleeping and you wouldn't even know.
What's really scary though is that you say about people would have an alarm go off, and we've all done it. We've all heard the alarm and we think, oh, I'll switch that off. But actually, if you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, why would you switch it off? It's kind of crazy when you think about it, isn't it? And carbon monoxide alarms are not overly expensive.
No, they're not overly expensive at all. We have a different range of alarms by themselves. You can interconnect them together. But ours are actually with the filter only detects carbon monoxide. And it pre-alarms, so it tells you something's not right. And then it goes into full activation when the carbon monoxide gets to a certain level. But when your alarms go off, especially as carbon monoxide alarm, don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it.
There's something there that's not right. And that alarm could save your life. And what you've experienced there is what people may experience on a drunken disorder night or a hangover.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know.
Yeah. It did feel like you'd taken me out for a drink. But it wasn't a pleasurable drink at the end. Can we have a look around the house? Come and have a little look. Come and have a little tour of the Aico house.
We've got a dining area here, as you can see, and typically here we've got what we call a multi-sensor. That's the alarm that you'll install in an open plan living area, so you've got a combined heat and optical alarm. And over here you've got our open plan living, you can see here. You've got the fireplace there. Because we've got the fireplace here, you can see up here you've got a carbon monoxide alarm installed just up there as well. So it's a typical living room scenario. So that carbon monoxide alarm is installed in away from the fireplace, 1 to 3 meters away, to pick up any activation of carbon monoxide from a fireplace there. So
and these are really simple to install.
they're really easy to install. I mean, even I can install them. I'm not an electrician.
Even I can install one and I'm not.
It's not too bad. Yeah. And over here, this is what we've got set up for like a shelter scheme. So in care homes, etc., or sheltered housing, this is typically what we would install in, which is like a relay. And that talks to the warden call and any sprinklers as well. So what you see here is a mock-up of what you'd install into a shelter scheme. So a lot of local authority housing associations, you have extra care, and that's the system's installed in. So that is your basic system. That is making a big switch that sends a message of fire and carbon monoxide and head removal to a warden call, and which someone pick the phone up and say, is everything okay? And that's what that is there. So if you move along here, that's a corridor for the alarms. If you grab a glimpse of that comes through, that's our Aico mobile unit. It never works on timing sometimes. But you'll see our Aico mobile unit. We're a big believer on training and empowering everyone that's involved with fire. So from the installer, from the tenants, to the officers we work with, to the end users. And that's our mobile unit. And that's an example.
That's really good because a lot of products, and we all do it, home automation, everyone thinks it's cool, but 90% of it, we don't really know what it does. You kind of go, oh, it does that as well. Because, let's be honest, many of us don't read the manual. You install it and you just sort of hope it works. So actually having that education that comes with it is really important.
The education element is fundamentally important because there's no point in any local authority, housing association or any builder investing so much on these alarms here. If you can't tell anybody how that actually works and what it really does, there's no point in putting it in. It's a waste of money. So we're a great believer on training and empowering. So anyone that has a touch point with the alarms should be engaged, should be empowered and should be trained to know exactly what they do.
One thing here at FIREX we've been talking about a lot is over the last couple of years we have had disasters. We, very popular disasters where we all know about them now. And one thing it has done is brought to the forefront of a lot of people's minds how this really should be installed. If it is already knowing how it works, do you feel that that's changed? Because something good must come from this.
There has been a lot of people, we work in social housing and the tragedies that I've had over the last 10 years or so, they're all our clients, well, funny enough, just mine. But over there has been a lot of increase of people making sure the alarms are installed correctly. Has an increased amount of people making sure the contractors are trained to install them correctly. And also homeowners have been a lot more aware. So even on our website, we've got material where an end user could use, or anyone that's installing, or even a local authority housing association or builder can actually interact with. So it's just about making sure people are aware. But a lot of people have been, you go up and down tower blocks, and people look at you and go, am I safe?
That's what people want to know. They want to know they're safe. That's ultimately it.
And we say to local authority housing associations, anyone that works with us, is making sure things are installed correctly, specified correctly, and mainly the end user knows exactly what's been installed in. So that goes back to the empowering bit and making sure they know.
Tina, thank you so much. Thank you for putting me through the VR carbon monoxide thing.
Can I take you to the kitchen quickly?
Yeah, you're going to make me a coffee.
Yeah, come on.
We're going to have a coffee.
There's a kid's bedroom.
Oh, is that our kit?
You go lying there.
Oh, okay. Didn't know if it was something I didn't know about.
So this over here.
Tell me all about it.
So over here you see a carbon monoxide alarm installed at bedroom height. And the reason that's there is if you've got a flue going through a void cavity area, you'll install a carbon monoxide alarm. So if you're sleeping at this level, carbon monoxide seeps through the floorboard, it'll activate it through. And over here, it's what we call a deaf and hard of hearing kit. So if you're hard of hearing and visually impaired, you've got a strobe light, they all go off, you can hear, and the deaf and hard of hearing kit goes through.
I'm just worried that my legs will set it off at any point if I'm in that bed. Oh, and the kitchen.
You're welcome to have a cup of coffee with us if you wanted to.
I'm going to stay here. I'll be with Tina if you need me. Thank you, Tina. Milk, 2 sugars. We'll see you in a bit.